Okay, so then that's the agenda I'm going to cover in my presentation, which is all about the Children's Hospital, as Tom has outlined. So what is the project? So we submitted an integrated project to On Board Penola in August of last year, and we got successful planning in about 2 months ago. So what is included in the project? So there are 6 elements of the integrated project. The first is the new Children's Hospital at St. James's. It is circa 160,000 square metres, 125,000 square metres of accommodation for a children's hospital. That includes schools, third level education facilities, and about 35,000 square metres of a basement FM facility, which is a campus-wide shared facility. It also includes in the campus a Crick building, which is a Children's Research and Innovation Centre of circa 3,000 square metres, a new 53-bed family accommodation unit for Ronald McDonald. They have a similar unit in Crumlin, which is about 4,400 square metres. We've also, we understood the environmental impact on the local residents and the community in building such a large facility in a city centre location. So we also, as part of our application, submitted for a temporary site to aid the contractor in just-in-time delivery of key materials to the site. And that's in David Road, and that's about 0.8 of a hectare. And then the 2 satellite centres then is one in Tala and one in Connolly of 4,500 and 5,000 square metres, respectively. The purpose of the satellite centres is that the Children's Hospital provides both secondary care for the greater Dublin area and tertiary care for the whole of the country. In terms of secondary care, that's like urgent care, like emergency treatment, broken limbs, scrapes and bruises and all that. They will be dealt with in urgent care centres in Tala and Connolly off the M50. And then the majority of the work then in the Children's Hospital is the tertiary care. It will also provide secondary care for all of the patients within the M50, which is quite substantial in size. Okay, so just a couple of pictures. On the top left is the new satellite centre in Connolly, which is a 3-storey building. It's a predominantly 3-storey campus. The bottom left is the satellite centre in Tala. The middle one is the family accommodation unit on the James's campus. I think I'm just going to bring all these in. Then the top right then is the new Children's Hospital on the campus of St. James's. And then the bottom right is the new Crick facility, Children's Research and Innovation Centre. And you can see how the map of the services covers the whole of the greater Dublin area. Slide. Okay, so the development board was created by statutory instrument in 2013. When I say it was created, it was modified in 2013. It was originally created in 2006. And the purpose of the development board is to design, build, equip the new Children's Hospital. So at the outset in early 2014, when the project executive was taken on board by the development board, we looked at what are the project challenges, and these were the ones. Tom mentioned the scale and complexity of the project. It's an enormous project. And back in 2014, the industry was not in good shape, so we really considered that was a big challenge. There's an awful lot of key stakeholders. We take our direction from the Department of Health. Our funders are the HSE. We have 3 host campuses. We have community groups. We have local residents. We have the end users, the staff. So there's huge governance in terms of approval and also in stakeholder engagement. And managing expectations is really important, because if I was sitting in the existing 3 hospitals, they're fantastic staff. They've been keeping those facilities going for many, many years. They want the very best, and we want to give them the best, but that has to be managed to make sure that we deliver value for money for the state. We're very ambitious about changing and leading change management, and so that vision obviously is a challenge to bring that through. Planning was a big risk. Up to now, there was a failed planning of the matter, so we had to secure planning on the St. James's Hospital site, so that was a challenge. This is a highly political job. It's in the media. It was in the media again this morning, and it's in the media nearly every week, and that has to be carefully managed, and we have our own communication team working on that, helping us. Back in 2014, when we thought about what were the challenges, we had a dysfunctional construction industry, really dysfunctional, and that was a major challenge. And then obviously we have to sell this project. We might think this is a large project, everyone's going to be very interested in, but we had to go out and sell this project because of the size and the risk associated with it. I won't go dwell on this. So why I brought this slide in 2014, we were procuring our design team, and the construction industry was in chaos. We had 75% contraction, lack of capacity. How are we going to get good designers and good contractors to build our facility? There was below-cost bidding, all this perceived poor design, unbalanced conditions of engagement, unbalanced public work contracts, many contractual disputes, adversarial, poor collaboration. a lot of legacy projects and debts for firms, low morale, and probably a lack of ownership in the governments the way they had stopped investment in key infrastructure, which we know now the impact of that. So, and I'll come back to that a bit later. So in terms of our own team, obviously we have a development board. The development board are made up of very senior peer people within the industry, chaired by Tom Costello. So there are people with very strong legal, architectural, urban planning, engineering, construction, procurement skills, also clinical and financial. And then we have our executive team as well that work closely with them, and I'm part of the executive team. Our team is, we believe, is very technically strong, has a real strong track record of delivering major infrastructure projects through design or construction or through legal. We believe in real high quality and bringing good value. We're determined to bring about change. We're ambitious, we're driven, we're strategic, we're very cohesive, and we have very high expectations about this project. So our vision, to hand over one of the finest children's hospitals in the world and be an international benchmark. We have looked at all the leading children's hospitals in the world, and we feel the design we have at the moment is absolutely unique, and we can deliver the outstanding children's hospital in the world. This, we feel, is a once-in-a-lifetime legacy project, both for terms of the staff and the children, but also for the wider community, which I'll come back to. We think it'll act as a catalyst for local generation for the Dublin 8 area, and we've been working very closely with local groups on that. We were very ambitious in terms of our programme. We wanted to get this job into planning in a year, and we did. We want to get through planning, and we wanted to get on site as soon as possible. We also looked at simplifying the implementation process. So we worked very closely with the HSE and Department of Health in terms of the approval structure, and with the Children's Hospital Group, which are our end user, to simplify the process and actually move the project forward in the right way. We all thought about in early 2014 what was being the best projects that we had experienced in our life, and there was three key elements. It was the right client team, it was the right design team, and the right construction team. Without that, if you lose one of those, you do not get a quality product. So we had to ensure that we delivered that. We wanted to change the procurement process, collaboration again. We want to change the behaviours in the industry. We want to ensure sustainability, bring innovation, latest technology, and we wanted to benchmark. In terms of design team procurement, we emphasised quality. We gave a very, very clear brief to our design team so they knew exactly what they were going to deliver for us. We modified the procurement system to ensure that we got the right design team on the right fee and the right clarity of services. And inclusion, I think we have that. We have two design teams, one on the Satellite Centres project and one on the main, and we feel that we have a very strong design team. So the first ingredient was in place. In terms of construction procurement, was at the time we procured the design team, we had to set out what is going to be the procurement process for the project in terms of construction and works. And we felt the existing public work contract just simply wouldn't work. So the very early in 2014, we sat down with the HSE and we sat down with the GCC committee, and they were very good in terms of working with us and looking at how we would modify a public work contract and make it a bespoke contract, especially for this project because of the size it is. So first of all, we decided it was going to be employer design. And then in terms of the contract itself, the bill of quantities will have primacy. All our specialists are procured directly by the employer and then brought in as a subcontractor under the main contractor. We're going with a two-stage tender process for the Children's Hospital project, which we'll come back to in the next slide, with a mechanism then for a guaranteed maximum price of 2.5% on top for both main contractor and specialists back to back. We looked at ways of making the tender cost effective. There's been a huge amount of cost for contractors in tendering large projects. We want to take that cost away to develop interest in the project. We're aware of the existing construction inflation at the moment. So in order to eliminate that risk or reduce that risk for contractors, we've said normally a PwC contract after 30 months, like this project is going to take 4 years. So beyond the 30-month threshold in the public work contract, any inflation over 4% will be recoverable by the main contractor and the specialist. So that's how we've dealt with that. We've capped main contractor liability. We've gone for a 10% bond that is also capped, and there will be a constable bond from the specialist to the main contractor. We've looked at LEDs, we've stepped them, so they start off quite low and then they step up. We have owner control insurances will be in place. And in terms of disputes, hopefully we won't get disputes, but if we do, we have a dispute board, we have conciliation, and we're court rather than arbitration. In terms of the two-stage process, why we picked it was we wanted to test the market early, and we wanted flexibility to adapt the budget. We also wanted early contractor engagement. Like, the contractors know how to build these large projects, Okay, we wanted that engagement. And then, so where we are at the moment, we're at develop design. Over the next year, whilst we're tendering the project, we are going to work with the contractor, with the design team, with ourselves and the end users to work on the final detailed design of the project, taking into account prefabrication, phasing, innovation, value engineering. And then that will then all be fed into a GMP at the end of the project. So phase A bill of quantities is based on full design, which is about 10% of the project, and the remaining 90% is based on developed design. When I say developed design, there are very, very detailed bill of quantities for that developed design. Every element, every rate is covered. We have very, very detailed developed design drawings that are going out to the market. Those rates will be used then to adjust the phase B bill, the other 90%, between appointment of the contractor and the GMP stage. And as I said, we will then arrive at an adjusted contract sum. 2.5% will be applied to that, and then there'll be a 50% sharing mechanism with the main contractor and specialists on that sum. During the GMP process, we want to obviously get the input of the contractor, but we also want to sign off on mock-ups, products, workmanship, all agreed prior to GMP. We feel this is the best way of maintaining the critical path and delivering the project as soon as possible for the state. And we've also, which I'll come back on, community benefit is really, really important. And we've inserted social clauses into the contract to cover that in terms of apprenticeships. We've worked closely with CIF and other people and Department of Enterprise and Trade in terms of getting opportunities for unemployed people and also apprenticeships. Innovation added value. This will be the first BREEAM Excellent hospital in the country. The other one is the new maternity hospital at St. Vincent's University Hospital, will also be BREEAM Excellent. We've set a very, very high level of BIM requirements in the hospital, so we want, at the completion of the job, we want the contractor to hand over an enabled BIM model that can feed into a computer-aided FM tool. This will be the first digital hospital in the country, HIMSS Level 6. It will be the first hospital in the country to have electronic healthcare records. So we are the pilot project in that, which is another rollout of a huge program through the HSE. We want to see how we can leverage digital integration between the healthcare systems and the billing systems. We're looking at a different way of funding the equipment. We're going to use a managed equipment service in that at the moment, as equipment funding is generally looked towards capital, so you go out and then there's refreshes every year, but these refreshes generally don't happen. So we want to work in partnership with industry to see what is the best model in terms of getting the best type of equipment in the hospital and constant refreshes and do over a 15-year contract. So we're looking at that, which will be a first for the state as well. And we're looking at innovation like recycling of clinical waste, boreholes for water, and we have future-proofed the site for future flexibility. And again, whole life cost is a very important design element for the project. Stakeholder engagement is incredibly important. Actually, it's the pinnacle of every large project. And there are many, many stakeholders, and we work very, very closely with them. There has been thousands and thousands of hours of engagement to align our project vision and to build a strong relationship. I just picked out a particular, obviously families, parent advocacy groups are really important. So we've dedicated forums with them to embed key requirements. Children, the actual staff in the existing hospitals, and also those that host campuses at Tala, Connolly, and St. James are also very important, that communication, that they know what's going on. And they understand the benefits of actually putting this hospital on the St. James site or the satellite centres in Tala and Connolly. So there's been ongoing presentations, newsletters, leaflet drops, and also then residents and neighbours, really important. They're going to be impacted by the development. And then community and business groups in terms of regeneration. Our programme, I mentioned that we started around early 2014. We started design in August 2014 for the NCH and December 2014 for the satellite centres. We got planning 2 months ago. We are now about to, we have tendered some projects and we're about to tender the main contract now. We're hoping that the satellite centres will be operational by the middle of 2018 and the children's hospital will be finished at the end of 2020. So in terms of procurement, our status is we have tendered and evaluated the enabling works contract for the St. James's site for the children's hospital. We're hoping to appoint in July. The main contractor will be tendered very shortly in the next week or two. Satellite centres, we have shortlisting is nearly finalised, and we're hoping to tender those two. Those two satellite centre projects are going as a combination, so they are as one single procurement for both satellite centres, and we're hoping to tender that in July. And the family accommodation unit and the CRIC building are under separate funding streams, so they have not progressed at this stage, but they will so in the future. Okay, I mentioned regeneration. We feel this is going to be a catalyst for regeneration in the area. So we have worked very closely with Dublin City Council on, and we produced as part of the planning application an urban initiative regeneration study of what areas around Dublin 8 could be regenerated as part of the whole hospital development. We think there's large areas of the Diageo site, there are other areas, derelict sites around the area. We think there's a real opportunity here where you have tri-location of the new children's hospital, the adult hospital and the future maternity hospital, this campus, that's cradle to grave healthcare on one campus. So in terms of the industry, in terms of equipment suppliers, in terms of ICT suppliers, medical devices, there's huge opportunity for them in terms of investing in the campus on clinical trials and then maybe locating adjacent to the campus. So working with Dublin City Council, a lot of the areas of regeneration that we've set out in our study has now found its way into the draft development plan. And just good examples of that where hospital-led generation has made a huge difference is the Manchester corridor, where the local authority worked in partnership with the new children's hospital that was completed about 2 or 3 years ago, and the universities and local businesses. And they have created over a decade 55,000 new jobs based in medical innovation. So we want to, and also the Mayo Clinic and Cleveland Clinic are a good example. So we want to set out and try and achieve that as well. Community benefit is really important, and it does start with the construction. So again, so we have formed a partnership now. There's a community benefit group, which is based in the Children's Hospital Group, who are the end user. Children's Hospital, St James's Hospital. There's the local area committee of Dublin City Council. There's local businesses. There's local residents, and we're working to see over the next 10 years how can this job leave a legacy in this area. And that starts with the construction in terms of many construction jobs, but it's also future careers in the hospitals themselves, going into schools. There is a big shortage of nurses, doctors, and support staff in hospitals at the moment. So how do we go into schools, get our clinicians to make presentations, and actually, hopefully they will go into and take careers in the hospitals. And that goes the same for construction as well. I mentioned the social clauses, apprentices, people leaving school, going into apprentices, and going into the construction industry. And then there's a huge spend out of the Children's Hospital, St James's campus, in terms of local business, and getting SMEs, getting opportunities for SMEs is really important. So we feel by setting this up and getting this commenced, this would be of huge benefit to the local area. So that ends my presentation. I just want to finish with a video, which is a fly-through of the new Children's Hospital at St James's. And I'll just add a few verbally to it when it gets going. So that's the St James's campus. You can see with the local areas around it, Guinness Storehouse, Euston Station. In terms of the campus itself, it's the best campus in the country in terms of linkage through public transportation. With the Lewis, you've got Euston Station on the Lewis, Dublin buses. 96 buses go through the campus every day, which is really important for staff and students of the hospital. This is a view from the Rialto Bridge, and this is the north end of the hospital. So there's a 50-meter distance between the Rialto Lewis stop and the entrance of the hospital. This is the main entrance with the family accommodation unit on your left. And this is the main entrance piazza, which is off Brookfield Road, South Circular Road interchange. This is an initial concept of the main concourse atrium. At this stage, we're only going into the detailed design, so we're just finalizing our wayfinding, our interior design strategy. So these are only very high-level concepts. This is all going to be worked on over the next couple of months to actually to fine-tune it. But the geometric shapes, the garden at the roof level, the concourse size, and all that is all being determined at this stage. So that's the view down the lower end concourse. That's the lower concourse at the south end of the hospital, with panoramic lifts going up. That's the performance space in the middle of the concourse with the waiting areas to the left at the main entrance. This is a typical pod. There's 4 of these in the concourse for outpatient department. This is a view from the south entrance again, as you come out of the lower concourse up towards the upper concourse level. And there's huge amounts of natural life because we have a 4th floor garden and we have lots of light coming down. Again, everything in this hospital is state-of-the-art. This is state-of-the-art. There's 18 operating theatres. All the inpatient rooms have very good views, both internally into a shelter garden. That's the fourth floor shelter garden with a biome structure, a cafe, areas for parents to go at night and relax, and just, again, that's the fourth floor garden looking back internally. This is at fourth floor. That looks like a parkland setting, but that is up at fourth floor level. That's on the roof of the building, where you can see the ward block in the distance. That's from the north. That's the new A&E entrance, which is combined with St. James's Emergency Department. And that's the final product, which we think is a world-class, excellent design. So thank you very much for your time, and thank you for listening.